Good morning, guys. It is morning still, I think. Just. How are we all? Welcome back to another mukbang, Mum Life Mukbangs. If you're new to my channel, I've made this series about mum topics, mum life essentially, pregnancy, all of the highs and the lows that you go through. So if you're new, as I said, make sure to subscribe down below because I've got lots and lots and lots of video ideas to come. But today's one has been quite relevant recently. If you have seen my channel before or watched me regularly, you'll have seen that we did our gender reveal a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago. And it was a boy. It was a boy, and it was not expected to be a boy because, I mean, I'll go into it, all the details. Whew, it's hot, sorry, I'm just gonna put that out there. It's 38 degrees in Brisbane today. And I also am wearing the same thing as I'm wearing in the other video, so you'll see that one on Sunday. But oh well, I'm not gonna get dressed for a mukbang. I'm gonna keep it real. Oh. So, let's just start it off with the drama from today, shall we? Look how good that looks. I'm so hungry. I might just readjust you guys so you can see the food, because it's kind of important. So the drama from today, I put on my Instagram, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can go, oh, it's a bit low. You can go and follow me if you want to. But I asked you guys what you wanted me to eat today for today's topic of Mum Life Mukbang. And some people suggested Nando's, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. And then I was like, but I need dessert. And then I had to think about it, and my local shopping centre has Sancharo's right next door Nando's, and I was like, oh, perfect combination. And everyone was loving that idea. Well, not everyone, most people. And what happens? I get there and Sancharo's is shut down. Either that or they're in like renovation mode. So that couldn't happen, so I've just got Nando's, and I got myself a Zarrafa's white chocolate, was it crush range or something like that? I don't know, but pretty darn good. So I got that, got myself some peri-peri chicken, peri-peri chips. Oh, they are good. I haven't had Nando's in so freaking long. And then the piece de resistance is a new burger that they have called the halloumi burger. I was stuck on what word it was then. Halloumi. Yes, girl. Absolutely love myself some cheese. And particularly halloumi. So, again, disclaimer, apologise if you're gonna hear me talk with my mouth full. It's a mukbang. It's probably gonna happen a lot in this video. Right. What? It says mild on it. I said hot. Oh, that's annoying. Oh well. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay. Let's open up the box and see. Ooh. Oh, why do they double wrap it? I've never got a burger taken away from Nando's before, so I didn't even know that they do this. Oh, that looks delicious. Oh, look at that. Oh. Let me just move these chipolatas for a second. Oh yeah, extra chip. You guys see that? That looks incredible. Oh, yum. Oh, I'm excited about this. Okay. Should we do the thumbnail? I did a couple at the beginning, but just in case I need another one. Whoops, I wasn't meant to take a bite. Oh well, I have to deal with the first thumbnails. I just can't resist it. It's like I touched my lips and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat this right now. Okay. Oh, so good though. Sorry. Lots of mayo. Which is good, but it's like almost too much, you know? Okay, so I'm having a boy. Woo! I have another little boy called Darcy, which most of you would know. And so he's gonna be a big brother to a little boy. What's really interesting, and I'm gonna sort of like cross over between the two pregnancies and experiences because we did it different for both of them. So the first with Darcy, I'm trying to like get a good angle so that you can see what I'm eating. It's really not easy. That's better. So with Das, we wanted to keep his gender a secret. We didn't want to know or find out what we were having. I was undecided, like we both were undecided. And so because we were so undecided, we just decided, can I say decided again, to not find out. And then we had our 20-week scan, in which the sonographer accidentally said he twice. And because they roll around so much at 20 weeks, he rolled over and showed his willy. But of course, I'm no expert, nor is Elliot. And so we weren't 100% sure, but once we got in the car, we're like, stuff it, let's just open up the envelope. Because we got the envelope with the gender in just in case, on the off chance we'd change our mind, because you don't get another scan normally between 20 weeks and giving birth. So we decided to open up the envelope and found out it was a boy. And let me tell you, gender disappointment is a real thing. It doesn't mean that you don't love your baby, because you absolutely do. And I know that this is so much more common than it's talked about, and I think it does need to be talked about more. I've been in multiple pregnancy groups, and I know for a fact that I'm not the only person who felt this way or feels this way. And for some people, they won't understand this feeling, and that's absolutely fine. But this channel and the concept of this mukbanging and things like that is to reveal the sides of motherhood that you don't always necessarily expect, or to make yourself feel that little bit more normal for feeling or going through things that you don't think is normal. So one of those things, unfortunately, can be gender disappointment. Now, my whole life had gone through thinking that my firstborn was going to be a girl. I have no idea why. Ultimately, it's the man who creates the gender for you, so I don't know why I thought that. My mum had 2 girls and then a boy, and so I just kind of just thought that I would have a girl. I was a very girly girl growing up. I had a great relationship with my mum, and I always thought, I want to have a relationship with my daughter, so I'm going to have a daughter. So in hindsight, finding out at 20 weeks was the best thing that ever happened, because it allowed me to have a week of really processing the realism, the reality, to process the reality that I wasn't going to have a girl, I was having a boy. And to be honest with you, as stupid as it sounds, because it's 50-50, between whether you're having a girl or a boy, it had genuinely not even crossed my mind that I could be having a boy. Elliot was so set on the fact that we were having a boy. He was like, 100% we're having a boy. And I didn't believe him. I was just like, nah, we're having a girl. I feel it in my bones. I know that we're having one. And so you can imagine that when you suddenly find out it's a boy, just the overwhelming rush of, holy crap, my whole life is about to be different, you know? And that's not a bad thing to go through. I think it's quite normal for people to want a certain gender. I mean, most people will say that they don't care, they don't mind, but I think everyone deep down has a preference. I mean, that might not be true for everyone. I can't speak for everyone, but in my opinion, from who I've spoken to, generally someone will always say, I mean, look, I really don't mind either way, but I would really like a boy, or I would really like a girl. And so for me, it was actually so important that I did find out at 20 weeks, and I'm very happy and glad that I did, because obviously going through the birth, if you've seen my birth story, or the first mukbang I think it was that I talked about it, then you'll know the kind of horrific experience the actual birthday of Darcy was. So finding out he was a boy on top of all that, I think I would have just melted. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. I just need to really specify that. And you know, you can leave me hate, but I'm not going to change my opinion. I think it's a very normal process for someone to go through, to suddenly find out it's not the gender that they think it is. So that was with Darce. He ended up obviously being a boy, and I took about a week to process that he was a boy. And then I just absolutely loved the idea, and I couldn't imagine of even having a girl. And you know, just because you find that they're a boy doesn't mean you don't love them. You're just kind of mourning the future that you saw with the girl, or the things that you kind of wanted to have with a girl. Because bear in mind, I mean, if you're a woman, you're obviously, might have a relationship with your mum, you might not. But you would know that if you do have a relationship with your mum, how close you can be. And also, especially when you have children, it's a whole different like experience, I think, anyway. I grew a lot closer to my mum again when I had children, when I had Darcy, because I could suddenly relate to her to something. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry we went through, like, you must have had a handful with 3 of us, kind of thing. So you kind of relate to them more, and you have them there for support as well. And so I always imagined having a daughter to go through that with as well. And I mean, it might be different in every family, I don't know, but generally from what I've seen in my life is that girls do tend to need their mum a lot more through life than boys. As I say, I'm not speaking for everyone, but in my experience, when you have kids and all that sort of stuff, you want your mum in the room when you're giving birth, normally. I feel like I keep needing to like generalize things, but you know, it's true. And boys are a lot more dependent. Like for Elliot, for example, he didn't feel the need to have his mum in the room when we were giving birth, but I felt the need to have my mum. Obviously that didn't happen because of C-section, but that's the kind of difference I'm talking about. And so when I found out I was having a boy, I was just like, okay, I now need to imagine what that life's going to be like. And you just need to change your thoughts, essentially. But you need the time to process that, which is easier said than done. Anyway, we come to this baby, and I said this time that I didn't care which it was, which is true. I didn't care, but I did have, like, I didn't mind either way, boy, girl, whatever. I was going to be happy because I'd had Darcy. I knew how great a boy was, but there's always that part of me that still wants that experience of having a girl, you know. So when we found out it was a boy, I was initially shocked, firstly because she said she in the scan. Oh, okay, I don't think I mentioned that. Let's retrace. So, in the lead up to the scan, I said to the lady doing the scan that I didn't want to know, and to write it down and to give us the results in an envelope or a card or whatever. And she was happy to do that. And then halfway through our scan, the sonographer switched, so a man came in the room, and I then found out that she was actually in training. Nice. she'd been training for a while, so she's coming to the end of her training. And not on that day, but over her whole course. And I was the first appointment in the morning, or one of the first appointments. So I don't know why they ended up switching out, because it's not like she'd needed to have gone on break or something. It was only 8:30 in the morning. And a gentleman took over. And she said to him, oh, she doesn't want to know the gender. We're just going to write it in the thing. I should mention too, before she left and before he took over, she'd said, oh, she's wriggling around. And I was like, oh shit, she slipped up. And so then I got my heart set on the fact that it was a girl. Because as soon as you get any kind of like sign of gender, like up until that point I genuinely was like 50-50, don't know what it is, I'm not going to go in with any expectations because I don't want gender disappointment again, because that feeling isn't very nice, and I wanted to bond to the baby no matter what the gender was this time. Easier said than done. So she slipped up and said she, and then the other guy took over, and he did like a 2-second check downstairs. Because she wanted him to check the gender again, just to make sure she was right. And I swear he was down there for like 2 seconds. And then I was like, oh my God, are you done? He's like, yeah, we're up to the head now. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I left the room, went and collected my results at the front desk. And I said to the receptionist, oh, so the gender slip reveal thing is in there, is it? She goes, yep, it will be. So I opened it up and I couldn't see any like envelope or thing, and I was like, if it's not like concealed, I don't want to see it. She had a look and it wasn't in there, and I was like, okay, so great. And then she said, oh, sorry, the sonograph has just gone into another session. Do you mind waiting? And I was like, well, of course I have to if I want the result. So I waited like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And she's like, she came over and handed over the slip. She goes, Katie, here you go. And so part of me is like, was it my results? Because I think she got those results from the guy. But the guy was only in there with me for like 5-10 minutes, and he'd barely looked down in the genital area. And she slipped up and said she. So there's part of me that's like, I don't know if it's even accurate. But when we found out the gender and it came back boy, you can imagine my like confusion, because I swore she'd said she. And I'm really glad we didn't wait till the Saturday party reveal that we were originally going to be doing, because I'd invited my family and a couple of close friends just to like, I don't know, hype it up, you know, a little bit. And a few people pulled out last minute, so it was just going to end up being a couple of people. So I was like, no, we'll just find out with Darcy opening up a present. I'll link the video here if you want to see it. I think it's there actually. So it came out as boy, and that's why in the video I say to Mum, like, are you sure? And she showed me the slip and it did say boy. Sorry, I just got chunks of chocolate in that. It's really nice. So now I'm like, when I was going through that, I was kind of like getting a bit of that gender disappointment again. And then I said to my mum, it's got nothing to do with the fact that it's a boy, because I'm gonna love the baby no matter what the gender is, but it just means that if I ever want a girl, I have to be pregnant again. And I really dislike pregnancy. I'm not gonna lie. I find pregnancy mentally really hard, because especially when you're not overly happy with your weight already, and then you kind of get that taken out of your hands a bit. So there's that side of it, and then there's of course all the vomiting that comes with it, the pain that you get with it. But then there's also so many beautiful things, and I've talked about this sort of topic, I think it was last mukbang, So if you want to go watch that, you're welcome to. But I personally don't love pregnancy, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I don't love my babies. But I was just saying to Mum, like, it would have been nice if it had been a girl, because then if ever we wanted to have another baby in the future, it would be because we just wanted another baby, not because I wanted to try for a girl. Even if we had another boy, you know, there's no guarantee it would be a girl, obviously, but that would probably be more so the driving factor for trying for another one. So it was kind of a bit of just gender disappointment this time, but not for the reason that I'm not happy that this is a boy, but for the fact that I'll have to be pregnant again if I want a girl, if that makes any sense at all. Probably doesn't, but hey ho, a lot of things don't make sense that come out of my mouth. So yeah, I just wanted to be completely open and honest this week in this mukbang and spill the tea a little bit, spill the beans that it's not always what you expect or what you want, and that's okay. And if you are like thinking that you might be leaning one way towards another gender-wise, I strongly suggest that you find out the gender before going into birth, and that's the consensus of a lot of mums that I've been talking to about it. Like, most people will say find out, and then that way you can have time to process it. So yeah, I think it's difficult because you don't ever feel like, you feel guilty for not like being happy that it's the gender that you want. It's a strange feeling, and I think unless you've had children or you've had that feeling, you can't really like judge it because you don't get it. I can't compare it to anything else. It's really not, there's really nothing like it. Actually, I have a really lame analogy for it. Don't judge me on this analogy because it's very, very lame. But we all know we do it, okay? So, it's date night. You're talking to your partner and you're like, okay, do we want Nando's or do we want a Porto's? I don't know, just pick two random ones. And in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm really feeling like Nando's. Let's hope he says Nando's. And then he tells you a Porto. It's kind of like that, where you've set your mind on it, like you've decided both of them. So you suggested both of these to your partner. So you're happy with either. But secretly your mind is like set on Nando's. So you're like, nah, we're gonna really get Nando's. But I feel like I need to offer him, you know? So it's kind of like that, but it's a really crappy analogy, and it's very like, very different for the fact that you can't then obviously go back to Nando's. You're definitely getting a Porto's. But it's the only way that I can explain it to someone who's not pregnant. So it's kind of like getting your mind around the fact that you expected that you were having Nando's, and now you need to settle your mind on having a Porto's. It's so tough to explain, but it's the only way I can. If you have a better analogy, let me know. Can I just say, this burger was very good, but also very like tasteless. I did ask for it to be hot, and it's definitely mild, so that's a bit of a shame. But I expected the halloumi to be more like salty and like flavorful. Don't hate the burger, I would order it again, but it's just not what I expected. My foot's going numb. Oh, I would also really love it if you guys would leave me your comments so that other women, because I've noticed that a lot of people like to go through the comments and read other people's answers and stuff. So if you have had gender disappointment, please leave me your stories down below, because it really does help other women to come around to it. I know that a lot of us don't like to talk about it because I guess it's, you know, it is a judgmental world that we live in. God, this hair's annoying me. It is a judgmental world that we live in, and it doesn't mean that we don't love our children. It doesn't mean we don't love our babies, and I would never change Darcy for the world. Like, if someone asked me if I could go back and make him a girl, I would say no. And I'm sure it'll be the same for this baby once this baby's born. I mean, I'm the same now. Like, I don't care that he's a boy. As I said, I just don't want to be pregnant again, if that makes any sense. So it's so hard to explain. And that's why a lot of us don't talk about it. And I'm sure I'm gonna get tons of thumbs down on this video and tons of hate. But ultimately, you can't help what someone else is feeling, and that, I don't know, I just don't understand why people spread hate. I really just don't. So I wanted to bring it to people's attention that this can be a thing, and it is a thing, and a lot of women go through it and don't talk about it because they feel ashamed or they feel like ungrateful. And you don't need to feel it. It's an absolutely natural thing to feel, and I just wanted to let you know that you aren't alone if you're feeling that way or have felt that way. And I'm sure other women in the comments would love to read it too. It's a bloody good thing that I didn't get the same challenge, because I'm stuffed. You guys would have seen on my Instagram yesterday that I had food poisoning for the 3rd bloody time this month from the same product at Coles. The mints, the dreaded mints that will never be purchased by me again. So that food poisoning thing is going through at the moment. It's like a request. What do you call it? Application food poisoning query with Coles. So that's currently happening, and hopefully gonna get sorted soon, but that's probably why I'm very full right now, because I haven't eaten very much over the last 48 hours. I thought it also could be really fun to talk about the gender predictions test versus what actually happened. It was very close on that video, and the cabbage test really tricked me. I couldn't go either way with it. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, you should definitely go watch it. But the one that really shook me, because it's always been right, has been the ring test on the belly. So if it goes straight back and forward, it's a boy, and if it goes in circles, it's a girl. And it's always said for me, boy. And I thought that I didn't believe it, because it did the same for Darcy, and he obviously was a boy. And I thought, no, I'm sure it's a girl after what the lady had said. And so the fact that it was going straight, I was like, oh, this is really weird. So the fact that that was right is very creepy. Have you guys also done the hand ring test? That one's a really good one. It tells you how many kids you're gonna have and the genders that they're gonna be. And I just find it so fascinating. And thinking back now, I did it ages ago, and every time I would do it, it would come out with 2 boys and then a girl. So that's really interesting. And I'll have to try and do it again. Just got me thinking I should do it again. But yeah, I can't believe I'm gonna be a mum of 2 boys. Like, this household, I'm gonna be so outnumbered now. I've got Elliot, Darcy, and then this baby. I'm gonna be driven mad. Driven mad. Darcy is full of energy at the moment, and they're gonna be so close in age that I can just tell they're gonna get up to so much mischief. I think it ended up being 5 for boy and 6 for girl, or 7 for girl. And the fact that so many boys were ringing up on the tally, I was like, okay, I think it's gonna be a boy after all this, and then change my mind. You do that though, you change your mind so many times in the lead up to finding out what you're having. There's so many different ways you can find out the gender now. You can do the NIPT test, which is a blood test at the beginning from 10 weeks. But it's like nearly $500, which is ridiculous. And then you can do the gender scans, which goes off the nub. So if it faces one way or whatever, it means it's a boy, and if it faces the other, it's a girl. But my sonographer at 12 weeks told me that that was pretty much a hoax, because they could make it face anyway that they wanted to. So we didn't do that, and then we did the 20-week scan. And that's the normal time that people generally find out. So yeah, it's interesting. And like, if you think about the future, what else? How else are we going to be able to find out in the future, you know? Or is the NIPT test just going to become more affordable? Or just test for the gender? I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, I am very full. Excuse me, this pregnancy shrinks my belly. Speaking of, let me do a bump shot. I feel like it wouldn't be Mum Life Mukbangs while I'm pregnant if I didn't show you my bump. So this is the 21-week belly with a full Nando's stomach. And let me tell you, this week has definitely popped like the last couple of weeks. And it's very hard to touch as well. So yes, that is the bump at the moment, and a very booby shot, sorry. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's mukbang. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up. As I said, leave me name suggestions down below, and also your experience of gender, not predictions, what's the word, disappointment. If you had it or if you didn't have it, let me know down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new to my channel. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.
What does perfect even mean?